And we're very pleased to welcome to Telile 24/7 the Minister for Transportation and Active Transit. He is the MLA for Guysborough Eastern Shore Tracadie. Please welcome Lloyd Hines to Telile 24/7. Lloyd, it's good to talk to you again. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Adam, and good to see you.
All right, good to see you as well, sir. And your department recently took a bit of a shift. It's no longer transportation and infrastructure renewal. It's now transportation and active transit. Can you tell us a little bit, just for those trying to get used to this change, what exactly has changed about your job and your department, and why this actually happened when the new Premier Ian Rankin swore you into your position just a week and a half ago?
Absolutely, Adam. First of all, I feel very privileged and blessed to be in this role, and particularly continuing on as Minister of Transportation. Essentially, previously, the volume of business that was infrastructure renewal has grown and grown and grown with the rebuild of the health system in particular across the province, both in from one end to the other, really, but certainly mostly in Industrial Cape Breton, North Sydney, Nuwara, Fort Glace Bay, and the Cape Breton Regional Hospital. And in Halifax in particular, we redid the Dartmouth General significantly to the tune of $200 million. And we are embarking on the complete rebuild of the Halifax Infirmary, which is the kernel or a nucleus of the QE2 renewal project that we're involved with. So these are the biggest public spend projects in the history of Nova Scotia, and therefore require a very tight oversight. In addition, it was felt that housing was emerging as a significant area for us to get a good handle on, and so that was combined with the infrastructure, and a new ministry was created to provide a specific focus on those two particular situations. What that means for us is that probably in the vicinity, we have 2,250 people in the department, and this change means that probably between 80 and 100 people will be moving out to the infrastructure renewal department. We've grown close to these people. We hate to lose them because we worked very closely together over the last 4 years, but we have a lot of confidence in the great work that they have done and will continue to do for Nova Scotians as we move those projects forward. In the same spirit, we're going to be receiving some people from who are involved in the active transit section, who are currently in other departments of government, with a piece of active transit here, and a piece there, and a piece there. So we're going to consolidate those pieces into our department. There won't be any physical moves right away, but over time we will consolidate those office spaces into our own TAT department, and we'll move forward there. Essentially, what we're doing is consolidating the transit pieces that are horizontal in Nova Scotia into the Department of Transportation.
You're likely familiar with a couple of the active transit areas that are close to your riding, looking at straight area transit in Port Hawkesbury, Inverness, and Richmond area, and Antigonish with an Antigonish community transit operation as well too. And in terms of active transportation, Port Hawkesbury has been working hard, developed an active transportation trail from the NSCC straight area campus right up to the Civic Center. So are you pleased to be taking on projects like that as you continue in your role as transportation minister?
Well, I have to say that I am, and first of all, kudos to the town of Port Hawkesbury in particular for pushing on that active transit program, and we were very pleased to be a part of that over the last few years. And I think it's a huge step forward to connect various aspects of the communities together. Coming from a rural riding, it's difficult to overemphasize the gap that we have in community transportation in the rural areas. People in rural areas have to travel to central cores for services, whether it could be something as simple as groceries. It obviously is medications for pharmacies and also for medical appointments in particular. So it's quite a barrier in the rural areas when there isn't a transportation system available, which there really isn't for the most part. So I'm anxious to get involved with these organizations who have been on the forefront, working face of trying to overcome this significant barrier and see if we can continue the good work that they have been doing.
Well, we look forward to seeing how that progresses. And speaking of things that the town of Port Hawkesbury has been pushing for a couple of years, let's start with one of the two major projects that we'd like you to speak to us about here on Telile 24/7 today, that being an overhaul for the Port Hastings Rotary. It has been put on the province's 5-year highway plan to have the Rotary replaced by a roundabout, something we've seen quite a bit in Nova Scotia over the last 5 to 10 years. Can you give me a sense about the thinking behind going the roundabout route and how you feel that's going to impact traffic flow in that area as we go forward?
Yes, so I'll be happy to tell you what we see in the situation after significant study of the circumstance there. Essentially, when we look back, construction of the Causeway, which opened in 1955, it was a great breakthrough. In terms of the way that people felt at the time, or the atmosphere that people found themselves in. I can just imagine if we tried to build that causeway in 2021, how interesting it would be. However, it did solve a major problem of the day and provided the link that we have there currently. Now, the issue that remained and was part of the deal was to maintain marine passage through the causeway. It's very, very important, obviously, through that period of time. And up to 1955 was unfettered. There was no issue. So the solution to that at that time was the swing bridge and the locks that are there. And it created that access. But when doing that, it also created a bottleneck. There is a huge pile of traffic into Cape Breton, obviously, and that's where it all comes through in that location at the causeway and across that bridge. At the same time, we have to accommodate marine traffic that was there first, as it were, and needs to get through the strait rather than obviously going around the entirety of the island. So there's always compromise, and that was the compromise that they come up with at that time in 1955. Today, with the increase in traffic, that bridge opening creates a huge impediment to the free flow of traffic through the causeway. And with increasing traffic, we get more significant backup and longer waits for people. And in the society we're in today, everybody wants everything immediately. And having to wait half an hour for a bridge open and close it's a long time in people's lives. And there are other considerations there too, Adam, such as safety and security and emergency vehicle access and all of those kinds of things, which come into play. So we need to tackle that. And we are doing that in this process that we have. Yeah, you're right. Roundabouts are sort of a relatively recent innovation. In the last 10, 15 years, we're seeing a lot of them, and they're an old style solution, which in Europe and has been used extensively for many, many years. And they do work. I know they annoy some people because people are not used to them and they're a little edgy about going through them. but they are a great traffic handling solution. So looking at the Causeway and the way that that has evolved, there hasn't been a significant rethink of the traffic patterns there for some length of time. So that's what we have done with this particular plan. We're looking at it, putting it's almost a hybrid roundabout in there. There's a full-fledged roundabout, but it's also being accompanied by some other changes in traffic flow there that will help enable people get from the Causeway to Route 19, or the Causeway to the 105, or the Causeway to the number 4 expediently.
Lloyd, is there anything specific you can tell us about how the traffic flow would be altered to deal with these problems?
It's fairly complex, and I don't want to preempt the public meetings that we have planned shortly in the spring here for the area, where people will have an opportunity to seek the input. But essentially what we're doing is providing some traffic flow opportunities to enhance the ability to get from either of those locations that I've talked about. Part of that will be the Rotary, and part of it is rerouting some of the single lanes that are in there now. The biggest factor, or an important factor that we're looking at, is providing what we refer to in the industry as storage, which is a lane to where cars can park while they're waiting for the bridge. So what we're doing in this instance, in addition to the Rotary, which will be to the left on your left when you're coming across the Causeway, it'll be towards Route 19. We're also widening the westbound lanes from the bridge back to the Rotary to allow the storage of vehicles as they're waiting to get across the bridge. So instead of being extended back in a long line that goes back into the Rotary and backs up on number 4, we're hopeful that the additional storage, which will be 2 vehicles wide, will keep it out of the Rotary, and while the bridge is in open, and cut down on the wait time and the blocking of the ability to get from number 4 to 19, or number 4 to the 105 also in that circumstance. So our engineers have tried to solve the problem as best we can, and we'll unveil that plan to the public in the next month or 2.
So you've mentioned that there will be public meetings to help
Yes.
local residents get a sense on what exactly is coming. Is there a projected timeline for the start of construction on this roundabout, Lloyd? What are we looking at in terms of when the construction would start and when it's hoped to finish?
Yeah, we're moving quickly as we can here in this situation. We're hoping to be able to go to tender in late summer. And so it'll be about a year's worth of work to get it done. So we're hoping to get it moving this year. It's in the budget, ready to go. And it looks like we're probably in the plus or minus $5 million range for this particular phase, which hopefully will relieve a lot of the problem for us. But down the road, farther, I think we have to take a look at the entirety of the bridge itself. As I mentioned, the bridge is 70 plus years old, and it's as time goes on, maintenance becomes a major consideration there. So probably in a phase 2 that might be out 10, 15 years, you will see a bridge replacement and a what we would call a flyover from the Causeway to the 105 as a discrete route to get through there. This solution doesn't envisage that at this point in time, though it does utilize the Rotary to get traffic back into the 105 in a more direct manner than what it is currently.
And now let's return to our conversation with the Minister of Transportation and Active Transit for Nova Scotia, Lloyd Hines. He recently presided over the confirmation of the start of construction on a major piece of Highway 104 twinning in Antigonish and Pictou Counties. So let's speak to Minister Hines about that right now and talk a bit about what it means for him to preside over this part of Highway 104's twinning process at this stage of his career.
I'm so pleased with that particular work. When I come into the department, the prognosis or the forecast for that work getting done was 2032. And we will have that complete by 2023. And we know that because we're into a public-private partnership contract with DNA, which is the acronym for the Dexter Nova Association, and they are well underway with that project now. And in that contract, there are fixed times. The delivery is all set down. They are obligated to be on time and on budget, unless we introduce some change that we might have overlooked in the design, which is not going to happen. So we're well underway there. I'm so proud of that project. I have to thank the federal government too for a significant contribution towards that project through the Transportation Trade Corridors Fund federally. They contributed $90 million from that fund to the project, which is a total budgetary commitment for the construction is around $364 million. So it's 38 kilometers of twinned highway, of which 12 kilometers is new 4-lane. So that's the section that bypasses Marshy Hope as we know it, which as we know is one of the most dangerous sections of highway we have in the province.
Yes.
And that will be undertaken by a new 4-lane section over the mountain and from essentially Barney's River to Pushy's Road, and it's approximately 12 kilometers. You won't see that construction because it's back out of the way.
Sure.
Which also is kind of an advantage for the construction company because they don't have to worry about flaggers and safety considerations when they're building that 12 kilometers. The other 12 kilometers is a real challenge, of course, too. There are 27 structures that are included in the project because we took the opportunity to not only build a new structure where we're twinning, so it's the same river or same highway we have to cross, but we're going back and retrofitting, replacing the old structures so that the entirety of the highway is new and of the same vintage. So going forward 30 years, the project will age in a uniform manner, and we won't be in there doing work to replace a bridge that we had another 5 years or 10 years into it. Okay. They're all coming out. 27 structures going in. It'll be brand new from start to finish. As I mentioned, the projected time is the fall of 23. As of today, the project is on time. As I said, the budget was pre-fixed, but the timing is always an issue in terms of slippage because of weather, etc. But they're doing very well. What I liked about this project is this is going to make highways safer for Nova Scotia sooner. So highways are going to be safer sooner with the P3 arrangement. We were extremely fortunate, I think, in having Dexter Nova provide the lowest bid available because they're a local Nova Scotia company. And they employ local people all the time. And that shows the expertise that we have in Nova Scotia in the building trade sector, in the road building sector. And that means that the dollars will circulate in our province. So I'm very pleased that we are working with local companies up there, and they're doing a good job. They got off to a great start. We're in the throes of the winter still, but I think they'll come out of the blocks quickly as soon as the spring breaks. They're actually still working, and they have lots of plans about how they're going to focus on those structures and get them done quickly. And the rest of it, as they would say, is just moving dirt.
Can you speak to the sheer enormity of the project, Lloyd? And you've just given us a bit of a visual picture of what will happen in terms of Marshy Hope, that it'll actually be a complete highway bypass of the original road through Marshy Hope instead of expanding on that. This is arguably the most ambitious portion of this Sutherland's River to Antigonish County highway twinning. We've certainly seen a major jump forward in highway twinning through Antigonish over the last 5 to 7 years. Can you tell me a bit about the satisfaction you get as the minister to see this going through, especially after the long campaign by, for example, the volunteer fire department, to be able to get this highway twinned and to ease up the bottleneck at one of Nova Scotia's deadliest pieces of highway?
Absolutely, and kudos to Joe McDonald, the fire chief there, who fought this battle for a long time, and he's a tremendous supporter of safety. And twinned highways save lives. We have the evidence of the Cobequid Pass. We have the before and after statistics there, and the fatality rates in that particular instance dropped from I think 2.87 to 0.82, and you can do the math and talk about 20 years, and that's 40 plus people who are still on the planet because of the highway twinning. And it'll be the same thing as we get this particular section of the 104 done. Now, at the same time, we're also working simultaneously on the 101, the 103, and the 107, with significant sections of twinned highway going there. Actually, the 103, we actually got an 11-kilometer section of that open now, so I was very happy with that. Those are not P3 projects. We're doing them in-house. You mentioned Antigonish. Our expectation is that we will have this section of 104 completed within 3 years. It took 16 years to get the 15 kilometers of Antigonish done, and essentially the cost was around $10 million a kilometer. So we're much cheaper on going to P3 route, and we will be finished that much earlier, and that will save lives. I mean, that's the key thing. I think that's what Nova Scotians want. They want safe highways, and as we grow, we need to be able to provide that safe passage for people. So I'm really happy with that. I think it was a huge undertaking, and approaching it for 3 years, and we worked on it for 3 solid years. We looked at every aspect. We looked at going through Marshy Hope, but we were bottlenecked in there by the river and the railway. We were jammed. Now we could have actually relocated the railway at our cost for Cape Breton Eastern Railway, but we would have lost control of the schedule if we had to do that, because we would have had to build to their specification, and we still would have had to deal with the river there, which would have been tricky. So we labored for about 6 months over the decision to go over the mountain or to go through the existing section. And at the end of the day, we made the decision that the best idea was to create the 12 kilometers, a new 4-lane highway, for various factors, but mostly because of the tight corridor that we have there for the existing 104. That will now morph into the number 4, the old number 4, and that will be the alternative route. When we're doing twinning, we always have to have the alternative route available for any accidents or catastrophes that could happen on the twinned highway. So that will continue as the old highway number 4 in True March, we hope there. So there'll still be traffic on it, but it won't be the volume that we see there currently today.
I did notice that you looked into the future in terms of the Canso Causeway and the possibility of a flyover lane to connect to the 105. So I'll ask you this, has there been discussion to this point on continuing the twinning beyond the Antigonish area, the Antigonish, Tracadie, Bogdankek area, straight through to the Canso Causeway? Is that something that you and your colleagues in the department have been talking about at this point, even in the early stages?
Yes, it is. We have essentially the 4 pieces of twinning that were in my mandate letter are essentially in the can now. They're all out. Contracts are being awarded for the non-P3 stuff, and the P3 104 contract is done. So we can bring our head up now and start looking around for what we might consider to be the next priorities for highway twinning. That what you mentioned there is definitely one of the possible options in the process, and continuation of the 103 to Bridgewater, which is a big population center, is another possible option. But no decisions have been made for where we're going to be going here. We're not taking a breather. We're taking a look into the future. Now we have a new government, so we have to see what this new government priorities are as far as the highways are concerned. We have, I've been blessed to be the minister during this period over the last 4 years, and in the last 2 years, we have struck the highest expenditures on highways in the province of Nova Scotia's history, with a combined over $1 billion spent on our highways in Nova Scotia. I never thought I'd see that. When I came into the department in 2017, the budget was $215 million. The one we just put in place is 492, and last year's was 522. So in that 2-year period, we're spending over $1 billion on highways for Nova Scotians. And I believe that the highway system is so important for so many, many reasons. Economic reasons, economic development, obviously, moving goods between communities, from a tourism perspective, from the social life of Nova Scotians to be able to visit their friends and family. It is a baseline foundation piece for a successful society, I think, a good highway system. And we're committed to providing that.
All right. Just one last question to you, Lloyd, and this is kind of on the personal side. I mean, obviously, you are the Minister of Transportation for all of Nova Scotia, but of course, you have your roots in this part of Nova Scotia. You served as the warden of the district of Guysborough for many years. I know you also have family roots up in the Antigonish area. So I just wonder, having traveled through these particular highways, the Rotary and the 104 through Antigonish and Pictou County through the years, how does it feel to be able to preside over these long sought after upgrades to these particular sections of highway in the Rotary at this point?
Well, I have to tell you a little story, Adam, and you have roots in Antigonish too.
Yes, exactly.
So when I grew up, I remember getting my first bicycle. It was a J.C. Higgins bicycle, and I didn't know anything about bicycles, so I decided to go down Smokey on my J.C. Higgins with just regular brakes. So I got down a little bit, and all of a sudden I could smell the burning, and I had to take the ditch because I lost my brakes on a J.C. Higgins brand new bike, ruined it. But that was Cape Smokey. And surprisingly enough, or as fate would have it, we just presided over the rebuild of Cape Smokey.
Yes, indeed.
We just rebuilt that mountain completely. I have to say, the construction company did a fabulous job. They were very daring because the grades there are quite steep, but they were able to get it done. And we got Smokey improved and rebuilt. Just finished it in last fall, and there's some touch up to be done now. So for me, that was an incredible completion of the circle. From Bruner getting killed on my bicycle when I went down it, not knowing that I was going to burn my brakes out, to being the minister when we rebuilt it. That was quite a chuckle I got out of that myself. But we're building stuff all over Nova Scotia, from Yarmouth. We even did some gravel work in Meat Cove this last summer. That's our commitment. We did a nice piece of the Cabot Trail in Middle River. We're doing work really everywhere. We're putting in roundabouts where they are improving safety, and it's a great honor for me to be in this chair at this particular time.
Well, Lloyd, it's a pleasure to catch up with you again and to have you explaining some of these projects, which, as we say, have come a long ways toward fruition. We appreciate you taking some time for us on Telile 24/7 today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much.
Lloyd Hines is the Minister of Transportation and Active Transit for Nova Scotia. We're speaking to him today via Zoom.